Hey everybody, good evening, how you doing? Tonight I'm making a video that's about an important subject that it's recently came to my attention, kind of was hanging in the background. This video is going to show me brushing Paris, which I'm doing right there. I've got a flashlight shining on her so you can see dancing in the light beams the grass that she wallows around in when she's wrestling with Bougie. See the grass dust and grass particles flying out. A little bit of it will be in the hairbrush. I tried to light it up a little bit because she's so dark and it's so hard to see her. But what I do is brush through them and then comb. Brush and then comb. The video will be about that. I Dremel Paris's toenails because I hadn't gotten to her yet. I will clean their ears. Now Bougie's got ear infections, so she'll get her medication for her ear infection. I don't clean her ears or pluck her ears when she's got an ear infection, which she sometimes does get them. And she just had one about 3 weeks ago. Apparently it came back. It didn't get all the way gone. So I'll do that in the video. So as soon as I get through with my intro that's coming up, I'll explain what I found out today. And while I'm waiting, I want to shout out to a commenter today that was a new subscriber. She actually made my day. It was super great, and I just want to thank her for it, for the great comment about my channel. So here you go to the intro, and then we'll get on it. The one I'm going to be referring to that I saw and heard what she said on her channel and everything, it is not Go Groomer. Go Groomer is one that I watch. She's my favorite one. She actually got in my comments one night and it just blessed my heart. I love her. She teaches you how to groom golden doodles. If you have not had a chance, go to Go Groomer on YouTube because she's really good at teaching just simple people that don't know anything about grooming, and she's very patient about it. There's another one that I watch called My Favorite Groomer. I haven't watched her in a while. She deals with really hard to groom dogs. She's kind of trained in that. That's the other one I watch. But there's this one that I really like and I still do. But she had a bad experience with apparently a pet parent, and she went on a rant, I would call it, on her channel, and she said she's never going to groom golden doodles again. She's refusing them, and that hurts my heart. It hurts my heart for two reasons. It's not the dog's fault, and it is not good for dogs to be announced from the, that they're just not a good animal because people don't like golden doodles. I don't know what her situation is and her feelings, and once again, I do not hold her, accountable. Not accountable. I don't hold any ill feelings toward her for her, how she feels, but it does make me sad that I have never ever heard of doodle hate in my life until I got these two puppies. I had heard of it. I had not heard of it when I got Roxy ever. I think that's actually tied to breeders. I really feel like that's what that is. I think there's a little bit of unfair feelings. I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I don't want to offend anyone, but they keep saying there's no breed standard. That she said there's no breed standard for golden doodles, and there's they're a crossbreed and they're a mutt and all that. I think the issue in the general public is that people feel like they're too expensive to pay that kind of money for a dog, which everybody does not pay that much, trust me. You get what you pay for. You can get a $300 golden doodle sometimes. I think you're going to get your heart broke when it doesn't live very long, and it may not look like you want it to, but you can do that. That's not about who I am. It's not what I'm about. My old videos show that and address that at length. This groomer said that the owner of this dog brought this dog in and it was matted super bad apparently. And I don't doubt it because I've seen her have to shave down plenty of them. And she gets rude comments in her comment section about people claiming she always shaves dogs down every time she gets one. That is not true. I think that got her in a mood, and also she might be tired. She might be under a lot of stress. But she said she's not going to groom golden doodles. She's going to turn them away. And also she's got a few clients that she likes them and she likes their dog because they do the home maintenance correctly on it. So she's going to continue to groom them for the foreseeable future until she becomes a mobile groomer and sells her on-site business. Okay, so here's my point of this video. I want to ask everybody out there that's thinking about getting a golden doodle puppy, or that ever did get one, or has a grown golden doodle, or 2 or 3 or 4, or any kind of a doodle. If you would try to make a promise to yourself and to your dog for your groomer that you will brush your doodles at home. And I get that people are busy, but if you do this and the dogs are not matted when you take them to the groomer, everybody's going to be happier. And the doodles are going to not get treated so bad. Because that lady that said this stuff on her video, she even said on the video that she has a hard time hiring groomers that will not mistreat the dogs. She said she has cameras everywhere. And she knows that they have done this. She's only had 2 employees, I think, that she has trusted and has a good relationship with about how they treated their dogs. And the one employee had to quit because she hurt her shoulder or got arthritis in her shoulder or something. But she said there's a high amount of groomers that are very rough and mistreat the dogs because they have an attitude with them. And that's why I hope that if that's true, and I don't doubt it, that people will really try to make an effort to brush their dogs and to maintain their dogs at home so they don't get mistreated, they don't get hated, they don't get turned away just because they're a golden doodle. I mean, it's almost like they hate them like people hate pit bulls. It's just ridiculous. And I've already said all that about that, and I'm not going to visit that subject again. But golden doodles were invented, if you do your research, they were kind of a happenstance dog that happened either in Germany or Australia or somewhere like that, maybe the UK. And the look of the dog was gorgeous, so they recreated it, and the rest is history. And I dare say, everyone has a right to have a dog if they want one and get the kind of dog they want. And I think there's too much judgment going on in this world when with stuff like this. It doesn't matter. But back to the brushing. If you get a slicker brush, you can get either the short bristles or the long ones. Now that one there that I'm using is the short bristles. I'm brushing bougie because I've got you'll see the brush in the videos, but I've got a Christensen brush, which is high dollar. I think we paid $75 for that. And we're not affiliated with Christensen or Amazon at all. Not sponsored by them. Nobody I mentioned. I have no sponsors. I have no affiliates. I'm just me. I'm just Holy Golden Doodles because we've got 3 and it makes you want to say Holy Golden Doodles. But there you go. But anyway, so the Christensen brush is great if you're going to have a longer haired dog like a doodle that you need to get down in that hair with. And I don't like to use it on mine because it seems like it hurts them. They want to get down on the floor and just waller around, which Bougie does that anyway. You'll see her do the slow slide pretty soon, where she'll try to slide on down the floor so she don't have to get brushed, but she don't get by with it. Anyway, the crisp brush, I paid that much for it because I had some credits on Amazon, and I thought, why not? It might be a good brush. It is a good brush, but it's got L-shaped long bristles, and I just feel like they're too long for how short my dog's hair is. Because we get them groomed every about 4 to 6 weeks, and their hair never gets very long. Right now, the way it is right now, they're going to the groomer Monday, and this is Friday. So that just shows you. But now after this groom, I'll probably wait 8 weeks because the cold weather time's coming, and I don't mind if their hair's a little bit longer. So when you get a doodle, from the time you get it home, if you get a puppy especially, it'll help the groomer out if you'll fool with its feet and toes, and if you'll put, like touch around its eyes and on its muzzle, get it used to that. Like scratch its muzzle lightly, it feels good to them, and just do things. Like if you've got a Dremel or a pair of clippers or something that sounds like that, turn that on and get them used to the sound. Rub it around on their neck. There's the slow slide. She went to the floor and I made her get back up. I had to stand up to tell her to up when she got up. Anyway, just mess with them, brush them like I said. If you don't have time to brush the whole dog when it's grown, just do 1/4 of it at a time, but brush and then run the comb through and make sure you've got all the mats out. If you do that every day, it takes about 2 or 3 minutes to brush a dog the size of Bougie. And I just take all of them, 1, 2, 3, one at a time, and brush them, and it goes by quick. And anyway, if you cannot do the whole dog, do 1/4 of it, like do the head and one shoulder and one leg, and then the next day do the other one, and the other one, do the tail. If you can do the whole dog, I believe it'll be easier on you because you'll have it over with, and the dog will be just about brushed already by the next day. Paris, usually when I get to her, and she's got super thick hair, but when I start with her, I can already run the comb through her back and everything. I just make sure I run it behind the ears, because that's where the mats want to start, where their ears join on their head in the back, Bougie had to get her ears shaved the last time she went to the groomer because we had been sick, and for a solid week I did not get to brush her. And Casey told me when we picked her up, she said I had to shave her ears because they were a little bit matted. I said, that's fine. I said, we were not feeling good, and it is what it is. But she always tells us that we're awesome with the home maintenance and taking care of them. I don't think she even really requires that you do that. A lot of doodle people will just tell them over and over again, do your homework, work with the dog, make it easier for them to be groomed, and I agree with them. I mean, I don't know that a lot of people know that they're supposed to do that, though. There's just so much griping and not enough education, maybe. And it just makes me sad because I do know there's a lot of dogs, a lot of different kind of breed of dogs that get treated bad because of other people's opinions of them. And I don't want that to happen to doodles. So if you guys would help me out, if you get one, just remember to really try to keep it brushed and teach it to hear noises like clipper noises, and teach it to have its feet touched, and of course brush its ears, look at its ears, make sure they're clean, and anything you feel comfortable doing, like plucking the ear hair out of their ear canal. If you feel comfortable doing that, any of that stuff will make it easier on the groomer, and the groomer will love you for doing it. I do their toenails with the Dremel, and I've taught them to use the Dremel since they were little. And still sometimes they don't care for it, but they'll tolerate it, all right. They just have times when they're not, they don't like that grinding sound too much. If you do Dremel their toenails, look, just do a very little touch it to them. Look at the bottom of the toenail. If you see a black dot in the center, that's the quick, and you should stop. But also touch the toenail as soon as you grind on it a little bit, and keep it from the friction causing heat in the nail. So just and then touch it, and then touch it. That's how I do it. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a vet. I'm not an expert. I'm not. I've just had dogs my whole life, and I'm just sharing with you and letting you watch what I do for entertainment. But I'm in no way giving any kind of medical advice or any professional advice, because I'm not a professional groomer. There is Boo getting her medicine rubbed in her ears. And later on, Paris got on the floor and tried to lick her medicine out of her ears. She does that every time. So, okay, back to the grooming. Rub around on their feet pads. Train them to, like, I've got a grooming table, but I didn't bring it in today because it's super heavy. But train them to, like, stand them up on a coffee table or stand them on the floor and sit down on the floor with them. Train them to stand there. Also, a groomer holds on to the beard of the dog. That's how they control the face and the head to keep them from getting hurt. From the time they're puppies, hold on to that beard. It's just like right there where their chin, right in the front, under their nose, on their chin. There's hair there. Just get it and hold it. Don't pull it out and don't yank it. Just use that, hold the dog there and get it used to it from the time it's really little. And then the groomer won't have any problems doing the same thing with it. So that's another way you can work with the dog to keep it from people saying, I hate to see this dog coming, because it doesn't know anything. And I know a lot of lay people think that their dog can go to the groomer, and every time they go, it'll learn more and more and more. And that might work. I mean, I've not had any groomers to tell me to do homework, but I've seen them say it online. And I don't think it's a bad idea whatsoever to do that, recommend that. I think it's an all-around good idea, because this way the puppy has a better experience of the groomers. Another thing you could do before you take them, if you have a yard especially, take them outside and just wear them out with exercise. Let them run around, throw a ball, whatever. If you have to walk them on a leash because you have an apartment or you don't have a place, just take them on a good long, about a 45-minute walk if you can. And then take them to the groomer, and they'll have a lot better experience, especially if they tend to be fidgety. We're going to do that with Paris this time, because literally every time I try to give her a bath, she tries to get out of the tub and she'll put her front paws on my shoulders, and so I can always get ready for the fact that I'm going to have to change clothes and I'm going to be dripping water by the time I get done. There's the eye booger comb. I got that off Amazon too, and it was like $4 and something, it's cheap, but not affiliated with Amazon. Don't get any kickback from them. I just tell people where I get what I get. And anyway, so that looks like Roxy. She's super easy to brush because her hair's short. I shaved her down to the skin here in June, I think. Her hair's super short, and I trim the bottom of her ears, and I always comb her ears out, and I pluck them out. I don't take her to a groomer. I was thinking about taking her to Casey someday when we take the girls, the puppy girls. But we haven't 100% decided whether we were going to do that or not. So, but that's another thing. You make sure their ears are clean. Touch around on their nose, around their eyes. Pluck around. Even if you don't pull any hair out of their ears because you don't know what you're doing, just flap that ear up there and act like you're digging around in the ear canal very gently. And just do that with the puppies, and they'll eventually learn that that's a normal thing. If you got something like a hand blender that runs a motor sound because you don't have any clippers, run that sound around the puppies to get them accustomed to the sound of clippers. And leash, a little noose thing they set the dog up on the grooming table with. Just while you're brushing them, put a leash around their neck, and they'll get used to that going on too while they're getting brushed. So I don't want any of our doodles to face a groomer that just says, I don't like doodles and I don't want you to bring them here anymore. And if it happens, it would be because we all failed to maintain our dogs. We don't want our dogs to be mistreated or hated because of stuff we don't do. And so I think that was all she said, all she talked about. But again, it was super upsetting to me that, you know, she was saying that she's so sick of these designer breeds, and she's sick of this and sick of that. And I know she was frustrated. That guy that brought that dog in there, she even asked him if he wouldn't get the vet to give the dog a sedation, you know, medication. And he said, I don't want to sedate my dog. But, I mean, you got to make your mind up what you want. Do you want a dog that's well-rounded and taken care of? Or do you want a dog that nobody wants to fool with because you're lazy? And I know a lot of people work. I mean, most people do. I do. I work a bunch. But if I get a minute, I grab one dog. I mean, everybody don't have 3 dogs. If I get a minute, I grab a dog and I brush it. And I'm always messing with them. They don't really like to hang with me a whole lot because I'm always going to be picking in their ears or, you know, messing with them to get them used to being touched. And Pet Dad doesn't have to do a lot of that. Now today he filmed this Dremel thing here for me. I do it all the time, but I usually don't have anybody to hold the camera, and my GoPro never is charged. I just need to. GoPro batteries don't last very long either, and that's one reason I don't like to mess with it. I've got 2 batteries, but they'll kick off right in the middle of your filming and you don't notice it. Anyway, but I don't use it sometimes. So, but Pet Dad filmed that. And Paris is not a huge fan of the toenails, but what she does, she does like she does with the bath. She resists it, and then she gives up, and she just lays there. She was more comfortable being in the floor, and I was more comfortable with her in the floor because it is hard to sit in a chair with a big old dog laying on a fluffy pillow, and you're trying to get all that hair back from the toenails. That also reminds me, if you use a Dremel, I don't care if it takes you 20 minutes, be sure you crawl all of that fur away from those toenails, because that Dremel will reach out and grab that dog hair and wind it up in there, and it'll stop the Dremel, but you know that is so painful because our dogs have got very, very tender feet pads. And so, you know, that's just another way that they can get pain. Sometimes when people do things to their dogs, they'll keep some treats by their chair, and every little thing they do for them, they'll give them a treat. And I have done that with Paris when she was younger, but I found that with her and the other 2, they just do anything like that I want them to anyway, so I've stopped with the treats. They get treats anyway because they got 3 or 4 cartons of them up on their top of their sleep crates, you know, their bed crates. And let's see, I've covered how to do the maintenance. If you take your dog to the groomer when it's grown, I think they like for it to be there some say 6 to 8 weeks. I do ours 4 to 6 on the hot weather times. And other than that, I mean, Roxy, I actually do her hair myself, but the girls, we've had them in cold weather and warm weather because we got them last year in December. And so that's kind of how we do with their grooming appointments, just according to the weather, but we don't let them get too far apart. We don't want to make too much work for the groomers. Always tip your groomer, especially if they do a good job. Don't be a cheapskate. If you can afford it, tip your groomer, because believe me, they work for it. When I do Roxanne, it takes me about 3 hours, and you know, it is a lot of work. So appreciate your groomer. But if you think they don't like Doodles, don't use that groomer. Go to a different one, because you don't want the employees mistreating your animals. Now, I don't believe the owners would, because that's their livelihood and they want to build a good business. But the lady that was saying that on there, she said she had only had 2 employees that she did not catch for mistreating the animals. That's so disturbing. So I'm going to be super vigilant about making sure that the groomers don't hate to see mine come in. They tell me they're awesome. I may give them 1 more bath before they go to the groomers. I think it's been about 5 weeks since they've been, and And they got bathed there, and then I've bathed them once or twice, you know, since they've been waiting for their next appointment. I like to take them in halfway clean, and then they don't have so much trouble getting them clean too. So tomorrow or Sunday I'll get that done, and then Monday they'll go into the groomers and see their buddies over there and come out looking gorgeous. And of course I'm going to film it. I don't remember if I had anything else to bring up to you today. We're remodeling the bathroom, both bathrooms, and the house is turned upside down. So usually my house is not that messy, but there's stuff sitting everywhere while they re-sheet rock and mud and change the vanities out and all that. They've just got the one almost finished, and then they'll go on to the next one probably tomorrow. So the puppies were all running around in the middle of that poor guy trying to work and pet Dad. And so he kept saying it was fine. No, he had dogs and he didn't mind. He said his daughter has a golden doodle. And there's Paris and Bougie. There's some more Dremel footage I guess I stuck in there. But, well, that was the end of that subject. Another thing that's a new concept I've noticed is there's a lot of mobile groomers popping up. In fact, the one that said she wasn't going to do golden doodles anymore, she doesn't live around me, so she's not an issue, but she's going to start going and doing mobile grooming. And I've only had one that lives in my area, but believe me, if we get one here, I'm going to do that because I just would rather know what's happening to my dog. And if he's at my house getting groomed, we're good. You know, we'll be able to watch. So, mobile grooming, I would definitely look into. If you don't like to use a Dremel, you can use clipper, you know, guillotine type clippers for dogs. And if you're doing the clear toenails, the white toenails with the clippers, you can see where the quick is on that. If it's black toenails, just be very careful when you're cutting up. Look under that toenail for that quick that I told you about, that black dot, or where the toenail starts to curve up into the top, you know, the top part of the nail. Just be very careful if you're going to do that. But if there's any way you can train yourself or get your husband or get your neighbor or your best friend that knows how to cut dog toenails, I would do that, because that way the groomer's got less to do, less wrestling, less time for the dog to be put up, locked up in a strange place. And I guess at this point I'm probably rambling, but I am so thankful for the comments that I've had today. It's been a really bad day. Not a bad day, but a stressful day. My job's been stressful for the last few days. There's been a lot of changes going on in our lives, and so just to hear these cheerful comments and people said they enjoyed our beautiful doodles, I love hearing that. I love it when somebody just says, that's a nice looking dog, and I want you to know I appreciate it. See how that hair tried to grab in Paris's in that Dremel? You got to really be careful with that. It'll spring out of there and get hung up. So that's going to be the end of this video. I'll probably let you guys just listen to everything else that goes on, the music or whatever, and watch the girls go lay down and be relaxed and glad they're done with the struggle. Anyway, anything you need to find with that booger comb, I got that off of Amazon.com, and I don't know what the comb's called. It's just a fine tooth pet comb or something. And just be sure and brush and comb your doodles, and that way everybody won't feel like they can't stand to see them coming, and they won't be mistreated, because that makes me sad. Thank you all so much for watching my videos. Please like, share, and subscribe to that beautiful face right there, that Paris face, and that one there, that Bougie face. And there's Paris licking the medicine out of Bougie's ears like a bad girl. And then Roxy should be coming up from the other direction, going in there, bothering the man that's working on the bathrooms. But I must quit rambling. I appreciate everybody watching. And I will see you on the next one. There's Roxy. Bye-bye.